Timothy Omotoso resumes in Port Elizabeth in the High Court. Let us now cross live to our reporter Jayed-Leigh Paulse, who has been covering the story. A very good morning, Jayed-Leigh. What will be happening this morning?
A very good morning, Desiree. Well, I'm coming to you from the Port Elizabeth High Court, and if Kobani Blom can just show you some of the scenes that's happening outside. We've already seen some of the Omotoso Jesus Dominion International Church members arrive. I'm saying that these members are from the East London branch. They've come to support Timothy Omotoso in today's trial, but also saying that they will be here during the rest of the court proceedings should there be no postponement this week. And really just saying that they want to, regroup as the branch across the country. You would know that the Jesus Dominion International Church expands throughout South Africa, and they're saying that they want all the members of the church to come to Port Elizabeth and stand steadfast and affirm their support for Timothy Omotoso. But we are expecting the state prosecutor, Neba Ntelwa, to give a feedback on whether he got the certificate from the National Prosecuting Authority to actually centralize all the charges on the indictment. You would know that last week, Friday, there was a postponement by Judge Omar Skuman, and that was because the state could not provide this certificate for centralizing of all the charges on the indictment. And we saw the judge saying there that the state would be able to go back to the drawing board, would be able to approach the National Prosecuting Authority and then try and get hold of that certificate. This is very important, Desiree, as you know, because the defense's arguments are that some of the offences on the indictment did not occur in Port Elizabeth and actually occurred across South Africa, in Bloemfontein, in the Western Cape, in KwaZulu-Natal, and even overseas in Israel. So really saying that the Port Elizabeth High Court has no jurisdiction to actually hear the case, and only 7 of those, offences occurred in this district, and this court has the jurisdiction to preside over that matter. But we suppose we'll have to hear from the state prosecutor if they were in fact successful in getting that certificate from the National Prosecuting Authority. We did also hear Judge Omar Skuman saying that the state has until 9:30 to provide that certificate. Desiree.
Jayed-Leigh, even though the certificate is being sought, the counsel for Omotoso, Peter Doberman, wants the opposite, doesn't he? He wants the hearings to be held at all these different places that you've just mentioned.
That is correct. The defense's arguments say that, the offences did not all occur in Port Elizabeth. Some of the dockets, are citing that there were offences that occurred in KwaZulu-Natal, in Umhlanga Rocks, in the Western Cape, in Bloemfontein, even as far as Secunda, Desiree, and saying that this court, the Port Elizabeth High Court, has no jurisdiction to hear those offences. They should be trialled in their respective area codes in the courts where the offences happened in that area. So that's what the defence is saying, and the state has come out saying that this is impossible, that it cannot be such, that it needs to be centralised. All of those offences need to be centralised, and this court, the Port Elizabeth High Court, should hear it, seeing that Timothy Omotoso was arrested in Port Elizabeth at the Port Elizabeth International Airport.
Have we seen the list of witnesses, just in case the trial does get to resume, in terms of who will appear first? Because we can't assume it's going to be Cheryl again, can we?
That's very true. Although Cheryl Zondi did testify first and she was the first witness, it does not mean that she will be the first one to be called on the stand. She could very well be the last person, Desiree. And in fact, she could also decline to comment, and then she'll have to be subpoenaed by the state. But we did have a glance at the list. Look, it's 48 witnesses, 21 women who have come out saying that they were sexually assaulted by Timothy Omotoso. So it's quite a lengthy a list of people yet to take to the stand. Several people from all over the country, like I mentioned, from the Western Cape, from Secunda, Mpumalanga, and they will take to the stand. It remains to be seen who the first witness will be called. There's been a lot of speculation as to who exactly the witnesses are, but we do know that two of the witnesses are the two Idols twins. You'll remember, Desiree, they came out last year saying that they were sexually assaulted by Timothy Omotoso. So it remains to be seen who the state will call first to the stand.
Last week you were able to show us pictures of Timothy Omotoso's wife. What is her posture? How is she seeming throughout this process?
Well, Taiwo Omotoso has really been, supporting her husband Timothy Omotoso throughout. We've seen this in her appearances at the Port Elizabeth Magistrates Court, and even at the High Court. She has not missed a single day, and she's flanked by her bodyguards. She's also flanked by senior pastors in the church. She is not seen without them, and I suppose they are protecting her. But her demeanor in court is very quiet. She doesn't really engage with anyone. She only engages with the two co-accused. You would know those two co-accused are Zuki Swasito and Lusando Solani. So we often see her engaging with them and talking to them before the trial commences. In fact, she has just arrived. If Bobani Blom can just show you visuals there of her arriving at the courthouse, and we see the Jesus Dominion International Church members running towards the car. They have also been very supportive of Taiwo Omotoso, who they call Mama. You would know that they call Timothy Omotoso Papa and Daddy, and they refer to her affectionately as Mama. As you can see in those members running towards the car now. She will be making her way into courtroom A, and the trial will commence at 9:30 promptly.
Yeah. Thank you so much for giving us that update. Jayed-Leigh Paulse coming to us from outside the Port Elizabeth.